Circus and shambles are two of the milder terms Blackburn fans have used to describe the situation reserve team coach Gary Bowyer has inherited, but his opposite number Keith Hill was the man under pressure today. Henning Berg lasted 57 days at Ewood Park, but did sign Josh King on loan from Manchester United. And the sort of luck which caretaker managers often experience and outgoing bosses don't put Blackburn ahead. A new start also appears to have benefited Ruben Rachina. He's rarely looked like the sort of player who learned the game at Barcelona, but conjured up something special to put his team in control. Having seen their side lose their last 5 home matches, most Barnsley supporters probably weren't anticipating a revival. But then Stephen Dawson stepped up. But in the end, Blackburn finished the stronger side. Nuno Gomez has had better moments in his illustrious career than this one. Before their one shining light this season, Jordan Rhodes eventually snuffed out any hopes of a comeback. His 12 goals since joining Rovers in August have now come under 4 different managers, and also helped to prompt Barnsley's search for a new one as time ran out for Keith Hill.
Only goal difference separated these two before kick-off, but it was Birmingham who struck first at the Reebok. Chris Burke picking out the considerable frame of Nikola Zigic, and the Serbian crashed in a 4th goal in 3 games. Bolton soon responded with the goal their early dominance deserved. Tyrone Mears made the most of very little pressure to float in a cross for Marcus Alonso to head beyond Jack Butland. Alonso is one of 4 changes made by Dougie Freedman. Chung Yong Lee was another to earn a recall, and he too would justify his inclusion just before the hour mark, showing plenty of pace then composure to put Bolton in front. The Trotters enjoyed most of the ball in the second half without really looking like grabbing that crucial 3rd goal. But 10 minutes from time, a Stephen Caldwell handball gave Keith Andrews the chance to give his side some breathing space. And he scored from the spot for the 3rd time in a week after his brace at Peterborough. Birmingham's goal scorer Zigic then managed to get himself booked twice in a matter of seconds to compound Lee Clark's problems with injuries and suspensions. It rounded off a bleak afternoon for the Blues.
Greer, Mikael Smith there beaten by Fitzhall. Ball though breaks to Orlandi. Brid cuts. It's a good ball. Expansive play now to involve Wayne Bridge here. Bridge. Now Kazenga Lawalawa. Orlandi fell. Crofts over the crossbar. Andrew Crofts. His last goal came 22 months ago for Norwich at Barnsley. This is Kazenga Lawalawa. Lovely drop of the shoulder here. Lawalawa! Good save Almunia. Here's David Lopez. Lawalawa made a chance that absolutely nothing, and in the end was done only by a really strong save by Manuel Almunia. Daniel Pudil for Jonathan Hogg, and Hogg will play the ball on here. One more to Chalobah. Vidra, good play here. Chalobah, Hogg! Well, Hogg has never scored a goal for Watford. The only goal came on loan at Darlington as an Aston Villa player. This was a lovely slick move, by far the best Watford have done so far in this match. Their only real chance so far, and Hogg rather fluffed it. Hogg, Matej Vidra, Chalobah, cleverly done here. Matej Vidra! Good save, Kuszczak. It was another lovely slick move there by Watford, who do play some tremendous stuff. Vidra, good save, Kuszczak. The Hornets have won 5 of their last 8 games in the Championship. This is Almen Abdi. And through it goes here now to Troy Deeney. Angle tight for him, but he finds a way through. Between the legs of Thomas Kuszczak, it's double figures this season now for Troy Deeney. And the away team have got the initiative. The Hornets with Sting on the counter. And Troy Deeney with the goal. As here, Brighton were torn asunder. Deeney holds the run, being played on there by El Abd, and Deeney fires home to make it 1-0 to Watford. Liam Bridcutt. From Jonathan Hove now, it's with Andrew Crofts. And Bridge. And the Walla makes the run. Muni's got the ball, but not for long. He's still the ball down a collision. Hobart on Kazengala Walla, penalty. Tommy Hobart after the goalkeeper's fumble. Collision. Not sure there was much intent, but it is a foul, thinking about Tommy Hobart. Referee decides the connection is a penalty. Here again comes David Lopez, who buries it into the top corner. That is how you take a penalty. Just sheer brute force and venom from David Lopez, his second successful spot kick this season. There's Joel Ekstrand for Tommy Hobart. Chalobah. A good game by Chalobah today. He now finds Marche Vidra. Vidra's shot to the deflection, which carries the ball beyond Kusiak. Vidra claims it. Another Watford counter, another Hornets goal. Marche Vidra with a big, huge, wicked helping hand, which deceives and leaves Thomas Kusiak with egg on face. Deflected goal, 2-1 Watford. He'll have the unlucky man, the fall guy. It's Bruno now into the feet of Mikhail Smith. And the cross sent in here, and it's Tommy Hoban's header. Mikhail Smith waits, couldn't shoot. And Watford can break. Deeney. Now Vidra's pace here. Foot race won by Marche Vidra. 1-on-1 here. Vidra! 2 goals in the blink of the Watford eye, and the game might just be won. Once again here, Watford used the counter to devastating effect. Look at the pace of Vidra here as he gets away from El Abd. Outruns him, outfoxes Kusiak, and Watford now have a 3-1 lead at the Amex. And Poyet's plans have been torn apart. Greer. Bruno ahead, he's got Mikhail Smith as the most obvious target. Here goes Hoskins. Hoskins! Oh, Mooney at the near post with the block. Comes back to Mikhail Smith here now. It's Stephen Dobbie. Dobbie cross goal, but this time the goalkeeper with a much more comfortable gather. Having seen the ex-Watford man, Will Hoskins here almost get just his second Brighton goal. Angle difficult, but the save had a high tariff on it too.
Having lost their Boxing Day game to the weather, Bristol City employed an impressive sweeper system to get this game played. Joking aside, Derek McInnes did actually select a new 3-5-2 formation in this one. It caught Peterborough on the hop, Paul Anderson grabbing the opening goal after only 5 minutes. The key moment here came when Lee Tomlin gave Greg Cunningham something to remember him by. It was spotted by the referee and his assistant. Tomlin will start the new year with a 3-match ban. But with Bristol City being the only team in England without a clean sheet this season, Posh always had a chance. Even more so when Tom Heaton brought down George Boyd. It was Cunningham who sold his keeper short. Grant McCann did the business from the spot, but City was soon back in front. Some terrific interplay between Anderson and Sam Baldock saw the latter score his first goal at Ashton Gate since October. The locals haven't had much to cheer about this season. City's last home win was in August, but the Robins ran away with it in the second half. Stephen McManus made it 3-1, despite Baldock hogging the celebrations. It was another 5 minutes before he could justifiably celebrate. Anderson brought down by Michael Bostwick for another penalty. Baldock grabbed the ball. His 9th goal of the season was on its way. After 3 straight wins, Posh's great run had to end somewhere. Another goal for Dwight Gale eased the pain, but this wasn't the way Posh wanted to celebrate his permanent signing. Defeat to relegation rivals, who now climb off the bottom of the table. Nigel Pearson's grim expression at Turf Moor perhaps betrayed a less than Merry Christmas so far. Without a win in December, Leicester's promotion challenge had been flagging. Lee Grant saved from Ben Marshall early on in a game where the Foxes' result was better than their performance. David Nugent scored the only goal and Leicester's first in 4 matches. This was his 7th goal against former club Burnley, one more than he scored for them. The Clarets lost Charlie Austin to injury early on. His replacement, Martin Patterson, did force this save out of Kasper Schmeichel, but Leicester came closest to adding to the score sheet. Marco Futax rattled the woodwork with time running out. The Foxes don't concede many, and so it proved when Burnley had a chance to level it. Patterson denied at the death, allowing Pearson and co to enjoy a small measure of seasonal cheer. After a League Cup final, a playoff defeat, a takeover and a change of colours, 2012 was nothing if not eventful for Cardiff. But the Bluebirds could be celebrating an even more triumphant 2013. Millwall were the latest side to be swept aside by Malky Mackay's men, Peter Whittingham leading the way. It was some neat footwork from Craig Noon that created the game's only goal. It was finished off by Rudy Gestede, who after impressing from the bench in recent games, made the most of his first start of the season. Millwall could have done with opportunism like that. The Lions missed a host of chances. Darius Henderson might have equalised, but put his header well within the reach of David Marshall. At the other end, Mark Hudson was foiled by David Ford, but it wasn't costly for Cardiff, who begin 2013 at the top of the table. Every team that's done that in the last 7 years has gone on to be promoted. This win did come partly as a result of Millwall's finishing, James Henry wearing the Toblerone boots he got for Christmas. When the Lions did hit the target, Marshall was up to the job. His shutout ensured Cardiff recorded the first double over Millwall since the early 1980s.
It's been a festive period with very little cheer for Addicks fans too. The Boxing Day home defeat to Ipswich made it 3 straight losses for Charlton, with Chris Powell demanding an immediate response against Derby. Get back to basics was the message from the manager, but the opening goal was anything but run-of-the-mill. Charlton had offered very little before Danny Haynes unleashed this stunner on 20 minutes. Haynes soon limped off with a recurrence of a hamstring problem, but the home side still had several chances to double their lead. Soon after the restart, Bradley Pritchard rattled the bar, and the miss would prove costly. With 20 minutes to play, Charlton were dealt a huge double blow when Michael Morrison brought down John Brayford in the penalty area. Referee Carl Boyerson didn't flinch in pointing to the spot, or in showing Morrison a second yellow card. Substitute Jamie Ward converted from 12 yards on his return after 3 months out with a torn hamstring, and Derby were in the ascendancy. Powell praised his side's character after the final whistle, but he also had his goalkeeper to thank for denying first Theo Robinson, then Connor Salmon. The Rams would have one last throw at the dice, but this time the upright kept out Brayford. And in the context of all this late drama at the Valley, Charlton's point was gratefully received.
High farce in Huddersfield as this Yorkshire derby provided the weekend's oddest moment. It surrounded Wednesday's Jeremy Allan and referee Mick Russell. First, the ref interpreted this tumble as a dive by the Frenchman. The yellow card came out, but the wrong name went into the notebook. So when Allan was whistled for this mistimed challenge, the John Smith Stadium, expecting a red card, was stunned to see Allan stay on after receiving a second yellow. In fact, unbeknown to everyone but the ref, nearby Mikel Antonio had collected the first booking, keeping Allan on the pitch and denying the Terriers a man advantage. Huddersfield undoubtedly hard done by, but they still could have won the game. Simon Church had the Terriers' best chance of the first half. Another let-off for the Owls, who at this stage were fully entitled to feel that it might be their lucky day. Things might have got even better for them, but in the second half, Gary Medine missed the opportunity to earn Wednesday a 4th straight win. Jermaine Beckford was also off target, as Huddersfield's winless run was stretched to 9 matches. Of course, they had a ready-made pantomime villain to blame. The boos rang out for the referee at the final whistle. Not that Jeremy Allan was too upset. Here he is, look. Cheers, ref.
Byron trying to find Paul Green. Green snuffed out by 2 players, including Quinn and Brady. Leeds winning all the 50-50s at the moment. Bailey's throw. Dropped short by Tate. Chance for Corran. And he spurned it wide of the post. Alan Tate dropped Paddy Kenny a mile short. Corey Evans. Just one way than the other. Brady again, hugging the touchline. Looking for delivery, that'll be over Corran. Somehow managed to keep it alive. Mailer stayed in there. Inside the penalty, he goes down. The referee says no. Has Pearce just knocked him back? No, says the referee. And that's the important decision. Aluko. White shirts a mass behind the ball. McCormick's going to have to work hard to get behind as well. Chester. El Mohammadi. Into Aluko again. What a turn from Aluko. Deflection and wide. Corner ball it will be. Hull City. Aluko. You see his confidence oozing back. Paddy Kenny having to face it to yet another bombardment. Looking back, Abdullah fire the far post, into their side netting. And again, Abdullah Fire, who scored 4 goals so far this season, he thought he'd got a 5th. Big cries. As the referee, Elchin, says, yeah, no advantage. And Aidan White could be in a lot of trouble here. It did look bad. You have to say that Aidan White may have got lucky in some people's books. Myler picks up. Still down to 10 men at the moment, Hove. El Mohammadi is back on, but he's come straight on. Did the referee allow him to come on? Didn't see the signal at the stage, but he's back on and it's 11 against 11. And it's getting feisty as well. Clever play. El Mohammadi in round the back. Knocks off the Neil effects. Looking for Corran. And then, what a chance. As Brady comes stealing in. Should have really scored. How he hasn't scored with the ball going at that pace. He's made a little stab at goal. And it's gone wide of the post. Now picks up against Leeds. Myler in the middle as well. Looking for Corran, has gone right through him. Doesn't reach Aluko. Another chance. El Mohammadi, who'd stay down for a long time, showing absolutely no ill effects now. Flashes in a fine ball. Myler for Aluko, being held by Pearce maybe. Aluko trying to get the shot away, does do, and Paddy Kenny watches that, hit the stanchion at the back of his goal. It took a skip, and Aluko is growing and growing in strength and confidence. He's turned Jason Pearce. Breaking forward for Hull, edge of the penalty area. Myler, what a stop from Paddy Kenny. Myler placed a shot beautifully to what he thought was wide of the keeper, but Paddy Kenny got down superbly well in the wet and in the grime and preserved the scoreline in Leeds' favour, you have to say, even though it remains 0-0. That's a fine stop, and Myler, if he'd gone full-blooded for the shot, might have beaten Kenny, but the placement couldn't. Good start to the half. Hull on top of the moment though. Aluko again, twisting the other way. Chance to shoot across goal, and it's invaded everybody's foot, and Myler could have had 2 in a minute. Oh, the game is all about the inches. How hasn't he made contact with that? Patient from Hull. Brown goes out to meet Aluko. Myler.
Tall stride, the reverse ball, Evans in with a chance to shoot across Kenny, and Corey Evans opens the scoring in the Yorkshire derby. Hasn't scored this season, and this time makes no mistake. Leeds United finally undone, intricate play in the end, and Evans stealing forward, textbook finish across Paddy Kenny. Well, there's a gun-faced manager. El Mohammadi striding forward in towards Corrin, and Paddy Kenny took no chances at his near post, had to get down low, might have well been going into the side netting. You just never know. And Kenny doing the right thing. Corrin though, swift to turn towards goal. Brady looking for the in-swinger. Oh, it's a fine goal. Under no circumstances should Leeds United allow David Myler that much room. Superb delivery. It was like taking candy from a baby. And Myler thumps ahead of home, and Leeds United are all at sea in the wet at the KC Stadium. Hull City now 2 goals ahead, as Myler, head and shoulders above everybody else, doesn't have to work too hard to power his header past Paddy Kenny. Pierce away for Leeds. El Mohammadi in towards Quinn. Green is the wrong side of him. Quinn with a chance to shoot on goal. Quinn with a great shot. Drops again for Corrin. Paddy Kenny save. 2 former Sheffield United players get up against each other there, and Quinn's shot was arcing into that corner, but Kenny put off a stunning save. But at 2-0 up, everything's worth a try. Quinn, Myler, Quinn again, he's control of the ball inside the penalty area, twisting and turning. Myler again, Proschwitz waits, so there's a Luka Proschwitz with the header down, and Kenny will save a yard or so off his line. The German not quite getting enough on it to trouble Kenny, but again the movement was excellent from Hull City. Leeds salvaged something at the death. Pierce has made his way forward, going to jump in amongst bodies, and he gets up there and heads towards goal. And he's dipping underneath the bar, falling Jakupovic into the save, which is more of a collect, I suppose. Varney just posing an area of threat again. Does well to get underneath the ball and head it towards goal and keep it under control.
Blackpool looked the more likely promotion contenders when they thumped Middlesbrough 4-1 back in September, but it was Borough who sat a point and a place outside the top 2 before this one. They say practice makes perfect. Well, Middlesbrough had 7 corners in the opening 15 minutes and finally broke through with the 7th. Ishmael Miller glancing in Grant Ledbetter's delivery. Blackpool have been notoriously slow starters this season, and they still hadn't managed an attempt of their own when Richard Smallwood scored his first goal at the Riverside on his 22nd birthday. So everything was pointing to yet another home win for Tony Mowbray's side, but Blackpool were right back in it just before the hour mark. Bournemouth loanee Wes Thomas halving the deficit, and suddenly the Seasiders were looking likely to mount yet another comeback. But they couldn't seize the initiative and did very little to prevent Borough from regaining their 2-goal cushion. Scott McDonald was allowed to run virtually unchallenged before curling in a 5th goal in 7 games. Again, Blackpool were back in it when Jason Steele didn't deal with a corner and Chris Basham lashed home. But Borough's keeper would soon have the chance to make amends when Jonathan Woodgate was controversially adjudged to have brought down Gary Taylor-Fletcher by the referee's assistant. Thomas Ince stepped up to make it 3-3, but Steele saved brilliantly. 3 minutes from time, substitute Adam Reach finally struck to secure the points. The omens are good for Borough and Tony Mowbray, Jack Charlton's title-winning side of 1974, with a last to manage 10 home wins before the turn of the year.
Nottingham Forest supporters are among the most experienced around when it comes to welcoming new managers. Alex McLeish is the 14th different man to be put in charge in the 14 seasons since they last played in the top flight. With Sean O'Driscoll's sacking generally filed under the heading of harsh, McLeish needs results quickly, but so too do Palace. Glenn Murray quickly used various parts of his anatomy to poach his 8th goal in as many games. Forest came from behind to put 4 past Leeds in O'Driscoll's final match on Boxing Day. Billy Sharp led the fight back then and was inches away from a quick response. But just when Mr McLeish was composing the words of his first half-time team talk, Andy Reid showed the sort of quality which used to prompt Premier League clubs to queue up to try and sign him. The match was only given the go-ahead after 2 pitch inspections, but Glenn Murray seems to make light of any conditions as he improvised superbly for his 22nd goal so far this season. But there was still time for Palace to extend their winless streak to 5 matches. Sharp had tweeted he was gutted by O'Driscoll's departure, but 3 minutes into injury time, he was the man to ensure his replacement was given something to build on first time out. Mick McCarthy was given the sort of ovation his overall record at Molineux deserved, and it's difficult to make a case for saying Wolves have prospered since his sacking. Only 4 home games out of 18 have been won since, and his new club quickly set about making things worse, as left-back Aaron Cresswell showed his right leg isn't just for standing on. Convincing challenges from those in Old Gold were few and far between, as Geraint and Dorr brought the best out of Carla Kamey. If the defending for the first goal was slack, it was even worse for the second one. Low-knee DJ Campbell could have driven a double-decker bus through the hole he found in the Wolves' back 4, as he reminded QPR of his talents yet again. And we always try to show you the best chance for both sides. For Wolves, that was it from Roger Johnson. They really were that bad. But credit Ipswich for continuing their climb away from danger.
A 16th minute own goal by Gary Alexander helped to ensure that Bournemouth will end the year in the playoff places. Who would have thought that in October, when the Cherries had won once all season? Enter Eddie Howe, who since then has presided over 12 wins from 15 unbeaten matches. Victory here always looked likely once Brett Pitman curled in this quickly taken free kick. Crawley improved in the second half, but Bournemouth was still able to add to their lead. Eunan O'Kane wrapped things up with a late third, a 5th straight win for the Cherries, who will take some stopping in 2013.
Brunton Park's been the place for goals in League One this season, 45 of them even before Bury's trip north. The Shakers had defended superbly at Preston on Boxing Day, but they were a goal down in 2 minutes in Cumbria, Lee Miller tucking home a penalty after Effie Sochi tugged back Brad Potts. Bury almost levelled immediately. Young striker Tom Hopper, a touch unfortunate to see his header cannon back off the woodwork, though keeper Mark Gillespie takes the plaudits for the save. It appeared though a case of one trip too many for the Shakers when they went 2-0 down. Frank Seameck setting up Matt Robson for Carlisle's second goal, and there was still only 10 minutes on the clock at this stage. Credit to Kevin Blackwell's side for keeping going, and to Stephen Schumacher, who reduced the arrears with a towering header, his 3rd goal in 4 games. Not enough, alas, for the visitors, who remain in the bottom 4.
Walsall striker Fabian Brandy has been tremendous in his side's consecutive victories, and he must have thought he'd put the Saddlers in front of Leyton Orient after he connected with a header at the far post. Jamie Jones' save absolutely top draw. But it was Orient's Dave Mooney who demonstrated real persistence to open the scoring, recovering his composure after Paul Downing's challenge. 5 in 5 now for Mooney. Walsall, though, continued to knock the ball about with real confidence, and their equaliser from Sam Manton was superbly struck. The young midfielder on loan from West Brom with his first goal of the season. But fair play to Orient, who'd won 8 on the spin before losing against Scunthorpe in their last game, and teenager Moses Odebejo put away the winner 3 minutes from time.
Coventry have gone from rock bottom of League One to genuine promotion contenders since Mark Robbins took charge. The division's form side were chasing a 6th straight away win at MK Dons, but they'd have to do it the hard way after falling behind early on. Daniel Powell on the score sheet for the first time since August. But Coventry was soon playing with the belief and swagger of a team on a 9-match unbeaten run, and there was no doubting Frank Moose's confidence when he set off from inside his own half, nutmegged Sean Williams and rifled home in off the crossbar. Cole Robinson's side would soon respond with a fine individual goal of their own. Dean Bowditch offered Ryan Lowe the invitation to take on William Ejengwele, a chance he took with aplomb before firing past Joe Murphy. It was a fine finish by Lowe, but he won't win prizes for the knee slide. Coventry wasted little time in drawing level again soon after the restart when Stephen Elliott got just enough on Gary McSheffrey's superb cross. And barely 2 minutes later, Elliott and the 4,000 visiting fans were celebrating again. This time there was plenty to do in chasing Moose's hopeful punt forward, but again, the finish was superb. Elliott certainly took his chance to shine after suspension had ruled out the division's leading marksman David McGoldrick. Another great win for the Sky Blues. Matthias Pogba may be Crewe's leading scorer, but he'll be more than grateful he's too late to make it onto your Christmas bloopers DVD after this shocker early on at Boundary Park. Pogba soon made amends though with the game's opening goal, with a wicked deflection off Cliff Byrne enough to beat the despairing dive of Dean Bazanis. Crewe were defending deeper and deeper in protecting their lead, but they were largely untroubled before a Mark Ellis air shot let in Dan Taylor 8 minutes from time, and he finished calmly. Ellis then took it upon himself to make amends just 2 minutes later. The big centre-half went straight down the other end to head home substitute Byron Moore's perfect cross to inflict a 4th straight defeat on Paul Dickov's struggling side.
Things are starting to look bleak for Portsmouth. Colchester's postponement gave them the chance to climb out of the relegation zone, but it was an opportunity they spurned. Dominic Blizzard putting the Glovers ahead. And Jamie McAllister almost made it 2-0, denied only by a stunning save from Simon Eastwood. Nothing the keeper could do, though, about Yeovil's second. Portsmouth's caretaker manager, Guy Whittingham, afterwards bemoaning his side's failure to deal with McAllister's set pieces. And you can see just what he meant. Byron Webster doubling the visitors' advantage. Pompey were given a glimmer of hope early in the second half. Paul Benson, a scorer on Boxing Day and who's looking for a permanent deal at Fratton Park, did his chances no harm. But Benson and Portsmouth were frustrated in their quest for a late equaliser. It's 11 games without a victory now for Portsmouth, their worst run for almost 13 years. David Sayers had scored Doncaster's winner at Oldham on Boxing Day in stoppage time. This time he netted after just 58 seconds at Deepdale. Rovers manager Dean Saunders has demanded more goals from David Cottrell, and on the half hour he obliged, but whether he meant it is another story. Preston did improve in the second half, but Graham Wesley's claim that they can still have a say in the promotion race looks a little optimistic. When Will Hayhurst conceded a penalty for a foul on Kyle Bennett, Billy Painter completed North End's misery and made it 30 points from 39 for Rovers on their travels.
Top versus bottom, Hartlepool were 10-1 to win at Bramall Lane, the longest odds offered in League One all season. The nation's bookies took a sharp intake of breath when Steve Howard scored Pool's 7th-minute opener. Normal service was resumed on the half-hour mark. Goalkeeper Scott Flinders gifting the Blades' Michael Doyle the equaliser. The game turned early in the second half when Sheffield United had a goal disallowed. Ryan Flynn looked onside but saw his effort ruled out by the assistant's flag. A controversial call, but it provoked more of a reaction from Hartlepool's players. In the aftermath, Anthony Sweeney and Sam Collins had a frank exchange of views. After 22 games without a win, at least it demonstrated Pool's commitment. Sure enough, they were ahead again soon afterwards. Richie Humphreys was a boyhood Blades fan who never made the grade at the club. Murphy's Law decreed that it would be the former Wednesday man that made it an unhappy anniversary for Bramall Lane. 14 points from safety. John Hughes said he watched the Ryder Cup reruns over Christmas and hopes to channel Team Europe's comeback spirit. He'll hope that Howard is his Ian Poulter. His brace made it 3-1 and ensured League One's most sensational result of the season. Sheffield United pulled one back through Harry Maguire in injury time, but it wasn't enough. Hartlepool record a second win of the season and their first since September.
Despite Shrewsbury's recent improvement in form, Brentford would have been the clear favourites to win up at New Meadow. And Marcelo Trotta was the man who carried the fight early on for the Bees. Chris Wheel reacting well after the informed Fulham loanee cut in from the right. But Shrewsbury held their own in a match of few chances. And after Connor Golson and John Taylor combined neatly, it was central defender Harley Dean who cleared away for Brentford.
So that surprise defeat for Sheffield United meant that Tranmere could return to the top of League One with a win over Scunthorpe, but it took them an hour to get past inspired Iron keeper Steve Mildenhall. Cole Stockton with a close-range header. Ronnie Moore's men had suffered their first real blip in form, but the win against Crewe on Boxing Day had restored some much-needed confidence. This effort by Andy Barcham summed up Scunthorpe's luck in front of goal, but Tranmere were good value for the points and returned to the top of League One.
Wimbledon's previous home game fell victim to the weather, and they probably wished the clash with Oxford had followed suit. The visitors had won every previous meeting between the sides, and a couple of goals in 5 minutes set them on their way here. Sean Rigg and Alfie Potter combined for them both, Rigg slotting in the first before turning provider for Potter to head his 6th of the season, the ball just creeping across the line. Wimbledon had their moments, the best coming when West Ham loanee Paul McCallum was denied by both Peter Levin and also by the crossbar. Oxford it was, though, who wrapped things up when Tom Craddock took advantage of a poor header from Will Antwi. That ensured an unbeaten December for the U's. And the 3-goal cushion meant they comfortably survived the late dismissal of James Constable for an alleged elbow. The club have confirmed that they will appeal against the decision and a potential 4-game ban. The Wombles have other worries. They're now bottom of the league.
Terry Gornell had rattled 3 goals in 5 games for Rochdale since coming on loan from Shrewsbury. And back after his 3-game ban, it took him just 6 minutes to open the scoring at Bradford. But the League Cup semi-finalists levelled up from the spot following a clumsy challenge from Ryan Edwards on Alan Connell. And Connell, starting just his 6th league game of the season, tucked away the penalty kick. Rochdale had lost 5 of their last 6 games, but 2 goals in 6 minutes shocked the home fans. Andrew Tutt's 7th of the season rounded off a really terrific move. It was sweet stuff from Rochdale. And after the best home defence in League Two fell asleep at a short corner routine, Ashley Grimes appeared to put Rochdale in complete control with his 5th goal in 4 games. Bradford needed a response, and after a powerful run down the left from James Meredith, the ref felt his cross had been handled by Phil Edwards. Another Bradford spot kick and another emphatic finish from Alan Connell. But if the Rochdale players were aggrieved by the decision to give the penalty, they didn't let it bother them. And 5 minutes before half-time, Gornell's 4th in 2 games meant another 2-goal lead. And this time Bradford could find no answer.
Southend had the chance to move into the automatic promotion spots, and having gone 14 games unbeaten prior to the trip to Burton, they were favourites to do just that. The home side, though, clearly hadn't read the script, and they were 2 up before the break, thanks to Calvin Zola and Lee Bell. Zola tucking home his 11th of the season before being involved in the build-up to Bell's wickedly deflected second. Burton couldn't add to their lead after the interval, but they did hold out for a clean sheet despite the dismissal of Nathan Stanton. The referee firstly seeking out Southend's Luke Prosser before handing Stanton a 2nd yellow card. Nevertheless, a 3rd straight home win that takes the Brewers into the playoff zone.
Morecambe's away form has tailed off alarmingly this season, but they look to be in the mood early on at Chesterfield. Andrew Wright's shot keeping Tommy Lee in the home goal on his toes. But Chesterfield responded with a couple of excellent headers at the other end. Liam Coopers needed a brilliant tip over from Barry Roach, but it was the crossbar that rescued Morecambe when Drew Talbot lost his marker. But the header that produced the opening goal of the match came from Morecambe's Chris McGreedy. The ref ruling that Lee's brilliant save had come after the ball had crossed the line. The rest of the game was all about teenage fullback Connor Townsend. His brilliant free kick levelled the match for Chesterfield 5 minutes before the interval. But the on-loan Hull defender lost his discipline just past the hour marker, dismissed for an elbow on Will Haining. But Morecambe will be kicking themselves that they failed to take advantage of the extra man. Port Vale are the new leaders of League Two after the prolific Tom Pope set them on the way to a hard-fought victory at Dagenham. Pope's 21st league goal of a terrific season arrived after 4 minutes, and they quickly doubled the advantage. Jennison Myrie Williams' first goal from open play since he scored in the home game against Dagenham back in early October, and it was taken very neatly. But Dagenham have won 5 of their last 8 league games and were back in the match just past the quarter hour. Penalty given after Liam Chilvers appeared to play the ball when challenging Sam Williams. And Williams himself, enjoying his best ever season in front of goal, sparked a possible comeback from the Daggers. But Lewis Dodds is another informed striker, and his 3rd in consecutive games meant a little breathing space for Port Vale. And it was a cushion they needed, because Scott Doe got Dagenham second 6 minutes from time.
Edgar Davids has now taken full control of Barnet's fight against relegation following Mark Robson's departure on Friday, and won't have been impressed by the defending, which allowed Danny Coles to put Exeter ahead. And lessons clearly weren't learned, as another defender, Scott Bennett, was able to finish off a weakly defended set piece on the stroke of half-time. And if it wasn't for Graham Stack, Aaron Dawson would have made the point safe. But Exeter are notoriously fragile at home, and the decision of Davids to take himself off and bring John Nurse on was justified when he made it a contest with only 14 minutes to go. And the clock had just ticked into the 98th minute when Andy Iro, who already has an MLS title with Columbus Crew on his CV, scored his first goal in English football to inch Barnet 4 points clear of danger.
No surprise that this one ended in stalemate. It was a 10th draw for both sides this season. The Minster men were denied early on by a smart double save from keeper Scott Davis. Firstly Alex Rodman, and then Jason Walker thwarted by Davis's acrobatics. Fleetwood improved in the second half, but their substitute Stephen Gillespie found visiting keeper Michael Ingham in fine form too. The point keeps Fleetwood just outside the playoff places.
Plymouth started really well at home to Wickham and were unlucky not to take the lead when Nick Chadwick's shot on the turn hit the base of the upright. But the Pilgrims' mini revival, unbeaten in 4 league games, came to an end courtesy of a Matt McClure goal for Wickham, the striker returning from a ban, knocking away his 6th goal in 6 games. But Plymouth can count themselves a touch unlucky. Paris Cowan Hall lively throughout for the home side, clipping the top of the Wickham bar, but it's 16 points in 7 games now for Wickham.
Rotherham had lost their last 3 games at home, so would have been grateful for Tom Eckersley's early generosity, although Kari Arneson got some credit for the throwing. Accrington have got most of their points away from home so far this season, so it wasn't too much of a surprise when Craig Lindfield's shot found its way through. But that was as good as it got. Another long throw caused panic, and this time Daniel Nardiello got the decisive touch. The much-travelled Welshman scored twice in Rotherham's win at Accrington last month, and he repeated the dose after being given the freedom of the penalty area once again. And a 3rd goal in 14 minutes, this time from Michael O'Connor, ensured Rotherham will start 2013 tucked in just behind the top 3.